welcome to Everyday Board Games Reviews. I'm your host, Daniel.
And I'm your host, Daniel.
And today we're going to be reviewing Trick or Treat Studios' newest game, or one of the newest games, Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses, a game of horror.
What's neat about this one is you're playing the bad guys in this game. And that was one of the strict things that Rob Zombie said to Trick or Treat when they were licensing it, that you have to be the bad guys in this game. There's not many games that I can think of where you're playing as the bad guys in a co-op game. Case in point in this one, just to let everybody know, this is an 18-plus game because there is going to be some talking about victims and murder and stuff like that. So just be aware of that as well.
Yeah.
The way this game works, you're working as a co-op. My favorite aspect of this game is it's using the Arc Nova mechanism where you're moving your cards down a line. The way it works in this one is, depending on where it's at in the line, you're either going to get it for a free action or you're going to have to spend extra energy to do certain actions. So if you want to capture or unalive someone, I guess you can say, you got to be nice about it in social media. Yeah. But yeah, so it just depends on what kind of energy that you want to do and where it is in your timeline. Once you do it and you move it down to the end of your line, there is stuff that can junk up your line, whether they're victims or they're... bad cards, injuries, and stuff like that can mess up your lines as well.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 5 different G.A.M.E.R criteria that we'll be breaking down as we go through this review. Now, we use that G.A.M.E.R criteria to take our bias out of the review. And even though we might have varying opinions on this game, we're hoping this will help you decide if this is a game for you or not. So with that being said, we're going to start with the G in our G.A.M.E.R. This is for game immersion. And game immersion is broken down into 3 parts. Is the game fun to lose? The player interaction, role-playing and table talk, and memorable moments. The first part, I'll begin with this. I don't think this game is fun to lose. It's not bad. We had a fun time playing it, but after we were done, you and I both looked at each other and realized that it whimpered. Like, the very last round, we were like, okay, there is literally mathematically nothing we can do. We're still going to play it out because we want to play it out, but there is literally nothing that we can do to win right now.
Yeah.
It is not possible. We don't have the number of actions. We've spent our cubes. And that's unfortunate. In a cooperative game, when the game ends before the game ends, that's never fun for the players. It's bad enough when it's a versus game and one player is taken out of that because there's like, well, I can't do anything to win. I'm just a second hand watching. I'm going to help King make.
Yeah,
it's even worse in a co-op game because then everyone has that same feeling. So I can't give it a point for that. By the way we do these reviews is me and Daniel will each give it a point if we think it deserves it for each of our 5 G.A.M.E.R criteria, giving it a 0 to 10 scale on we call it giving it a Daniel. So player interaction, there is some, but I don't feel it's thematic to the game. Like the way the mechanisms work, it makes sense. Now, granted, I haven't seen the movie, so I may be wrong on that, but having played it, I never felt the need to go see the movie because I was like, I mean, it didn't bring out a theme for me, and we didn't really have too many memorable moments. So I don't give this a Daniel personally for game immersion.
All right, so for me, I agree with you that is the game fun to lose. It was kind of anticlimactic for us. Now, I've played it one more time afterwards, and it was fine. I still lost, and it's still... Yeah. It's one of those mathematics things, like there's no way I could win off of it, so I agree with you on that one. I like the player interaction, and you were talking about how you didn't watch the movie. I have seen the movie. Right. Each character really feels like the character that you're playing as. This character is really good about doing what they need to do, and it feels like this guy here is really good about the unaliving part of characters on here, so he's really good about it. The other ones are really good about talking or interacting and stuff like that, so there's different... They all do something different and better at certain things, and it feels thematic to that one. And I do like the table talking aspect of it because you're working as a group. It's like, okay, if I do this, all right, I'm going to reveal this. If they run, make sure you guys are set up by the doors this way. And I do like that aspect of it. And it does lead to memorable moments. I like that. Like we were talking about, it's anticlimactic at the end, but you're also sitting there like, oh god, I hope this is not a 4 that's going to come up because he's just going to take off and hopefully he doesn't make it to one of the doors because we know he's over here and he's like right next to one of the exits. So I like that aspect. So I'm going to give it a Daniel for the game immersion because it ties in very well to the movie.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to go with the A in our gamer criteria, art and production.
And when we're talking about it, we're talking about the art, the pieces and component, and the graphic design. Again, art is subjective, but I really do love the art style of this game. It really feels like the characters. It really looks like the characters. One of the characters looks like Rob Zombie's wife, who is in the movie. The graphic design, it's very legible. It's very readable. The board is fine. The dotted lines, I have a little bit of issue with because it's like, okay, this is the different spot. Okay, this is a different section. This is a different section. Other than that, it's very legible. You can tell the different rooms. You can tell that these are the stairs up before they can go out. That kind of thing. Yep. You can tell. I love the fact that they distinguish the back door and the front door, especially on the card play when they're running. This guy is running to the back door. Okay, I know where that one is. But this guy is running to the front door. Okay, I know where that is. So it's very legible, very readable. The art is fantastic. The rewards are very grotesque. They're neat, but again, that's the point. So I do like it. I'm giving this a Daniel. This is probably the easiest Daniel out of this list here for me.
Same. I'm giving it a Daniel as well. Even breaking down to the box, right? I'm staring at this cover because it has shiny red all over it with a matte everything else ink. It's a little hard to pick up on the picture or on the camera here because it's just the lighting that we have here. But if you notice, like certain parts of it are shiny. That's beautiful. That's just the cover alone. The board is really clean. I remember there was a couple little issues with some of the small like iconography, but overall it was like actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The number of issues that I had with it were definitely overshadowed by how much time and effort that you could tell that they took into the iconography.
Oh yeah.
The boards are clear. The cards are pretty clear what they're doing, and I mean even like the cards have that theme. Like when you pop up a card and it's like, oh, he's running for it, Like too bad right now. I forgot what it's like. Run, rabbit, run. Yeah, like those cards is like they pop, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it an art and production point as well.
Also, a caveat: I do have the miniatures for it, but the standees are really nice for people who are gonna play just from the store retail version.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I prefer the standees always.
Yeah.
Just me. So our next category is meaningful choice.
When we're talking about meaningful choice, it is the impact on other players, the depth, strategy, tactics, or skills, and do arbitrary choices or AP make an impact on the game negatively. So this one is, I'm kind of torn in between. Like, I think it's going to get a Daniel for me, but the impacting of other players, you are working as a group. And if I do something that forces your planned move, like, oh, I'm going to go over here and take care of this victim because I want to take them and take them to the doctor and make sure we can get more points aspect of that. Or we're triggering like, okay, well, if I go ahead and take care of this person, that gives us 1 point. They're only a level 1, so that's fine. Oh. But if you take that person to the doctor, that moves us up 4 because the whole point of the co-op is you want to meet a threshold before 4 rounds. And so I love that where we're discussing, so the depth of strategy, tactical skills, we're working as a group and discussing how best to use it. And I also like the fact that we determine how we're going to do our turn order each round. So it's like, if I do this, then this can happen. So it leads to a lot of that strategy as a group. And it's one of the few co-ops where before a round, we're discussing how we want to do certain things. And I like that aspect. There is some arbitrary choice, but not a lot. It's more like the longs, like, I'm not really going to be doing too much well for me in this round because I got to do shorthanded this way. I can get more energy back for me to do better in the next round, that kind of thing. But it's not as bad as some other games. And again, you are impacting on other players because you have to discuss. And so impacting and the depth of strategy go hand in hand. So right there is where I would give it its point in meaningful choice.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a point as well. Just because of the fact that that action selection is super vital and it works very cleanly. Like I could take an action, but it's gonna take 2 extra energy, right? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I might have just had recovered or planned ahead to do that.
And I just remembered something that it does too that I forgot to mention is that when you're starting the round, not only we're determining the player order, you determine how your cards are going to go in your.
So you redeal it out. You're not stuck on that.
Where you're at, yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's a great... And also, what the cards build in from the other side, too, right? And they kind of block your way as you're getting victims. Like
yeah, they're clogging up your...
Like, yeah, and it makes sense, right? You're going to be hindered. Like I can't just be carrying a person on each arm and expect to be able to run down the hallway. You know?
Or if you get a broken foot, you're going to be hindered.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. So I like that part of it. There is a lot of depth, and I like the... like at the end of every round, you get a certain number of cubes back. That's cool as well. Yeah. I feel like it's very heavy-handed against the players, but I don't think that makes it, arbitrary choices. Out of a lot of these games, it was surprisingly mechanical. How I realized it was more mechanical than I thought the theme justified. But again, there is still that depth. There is that foreshadowing or the foreplanning that you need to do with the other players to really decide what you guys or how you're going to best handle the rounds. And maybe we just suck at it. So maybe there's that.
I always suck at co-ops, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I know you're the reason we lose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So ease of play is next.
And when we're talking about ease of play, this is the simplicity and familiarity of the mechanism, the likelihood to get to the table, whether it's based on the mechanism or the theme of the game, as well as it easy to learn, understand, and or teach. And so I am in two phases, just like I was in the other one about this. The simplicity and the familiarity of the mechanism. If you've played Ark Nova, if you play Disney Animated, you know that mechanism of the slide, your action selection slide. And you know the fact that the cost effectiveness of it and how you're going to do that. So I give it the point there if you're familiar with this. And that one is easy enough to explain how it works. It's the likelihood to get to the table. Like, that's where I'm kind of torn with. It's because... this was an easy back for me because I like horror movies, but you have people who don't want anything to do with themes like this because there's themes about unaliving people, there's themes about kidnapping people, there's themes about body parts and stuff like that. So it is know your audience kind of situation. So I don't think I give the point on there just because there is a small niche that would be happy for it, and that's the whole Trick or Treat studio aspect of it. Is because they play into that niche, but there's a reason they're not like big popular games because it's a small niche that people that like horror movies. I'm one of those few peoples. And it is not an easy game to teach. It is not. You can understand it if you're familiar with gaming. But the way this works or how that works, or if you uncover a victim, they're automatically running. So you got to pull a run, rabbit, run card and see where they're going. Oh, no, they got out and we lose the game because that was the second or third victim that got away. I think it's 3 victims. But yeah, so I don't give it an ease of play. I don't think it's difficult by any means, but just the simplicity of the familiarity of the mechanism is the only one I can give it because... a lot of people are familiar with Ark Nova. If you're Disney Animated is another one that some people are familiar with, just that the action selection mechanism. But everything else is just, it's not easy to teach. It is not easy to understand. I think I did okay with the teaches of it. But, and again, the theme, some people are going to want to get it to the table, but not everybody. So that's why it will not get a Daniel from me.
This is an easy answer for me. It's not getting a Daniel for me. I don't think it hits on any 3 criteria. Any of the 3. Because it's not... you referenced the 2 other games that have that mechanism. Mm-hmm. If you're a gamer, then yeah, you might know one of those games. In fact, I feel like the Venn diagram of people who know Walt Disney Animated and the people who know Ark Nova isn't a very slim chance anyway. So the fact that you're going into between... that's a unique theme or mechanism unless you're in that small little sliver in between it. In which case, yeah, this will be easy to pick up. But again, you're probably a gamer.
I own all 3 games that have that mechanism.
Right, and it's a great mechanism. But again, I don't feel like that's a familiar mechanism. It's really not. In fact, it's kind of counterintuitive how it works. Mm-hmm. Likelihood to get to the table. Only fans of the movie or fans of horror are going to get this to the table based on the theme alone.
Like I said, a niche.
But even then, even if you're a fan of this movie, you might look at how much is it making this game involved, and that might put you off. Like, this is a heavier game
than some
for
of their
this
other ones.
theme. Yeah. So you can't just be like a casual horror fan and go, you know what, that's the one. I love this movie, I want to see this, and then look at all those mechanisms and go, I'm not a gamer, I don't know what this is. This is pretty intense. And then understand, learn, and teach, that again, it's convoluted. This can't get a Daniel from me. There's nothing about it that's easy to play, in my mind.
Okay.
And now we're going into replay value. And that'll be me. So replay value talks about length of time and scaling well. How well does it play? Amount of time per players. Minimum number of plays for the full experience. And the expandability. Now, first off, expandability. This is a brand new game, right? It's been out like for a few months. So you can't really claim that it's going to be expandability. So I won't count it against that just for that. However, minimum number of plays for full experience. I don't think there's anything different per game. Please clarify that if there is, because I don't know that there is. But even then, we played a 3-player game of it, and it was a really long time. It was like at least 2 hours, and it was only 4 rounds. That means 30 minutes per round that gamers were playing it. I don't give this a point either.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think I'm going to give it a point. Length of time and scaling well, it's long. A minimum number of plays for the full experience is the only one I give it for, and it's just for the simple fact that there's like 8 or 9 different family members in that game that play differently.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect.
I give it that. Yeah.
And then the way you see the decks are different too. So you can have more victims, you can have less victims, you can have different rewards and stuff like that. So that changes it.
I'll give it that then. Yeah. The minimum number of plays. It still doesn't get a data from me.
But the expandability on this one, one, relatively new. 2, I don't know how they would expand it. There's only one movie in this genre.
Yep.
Now, these actors played different roles in other movies based on Rob Zombie, but there's no sequel to this one.
Yep.
So the family is not going to happen. And honestly, Trick or Treat are really not known for their sequels. I think they have a standalone version of Halloween. I own both Halloween and Halloween 2, but I don't think this is going to get an expansion. We haven't heard anything, so right there's a knock. Other than minimum number of plays for the full experience, because of the variability of the different characters and the different way the card seats, that's what I'll give. But the other 2 criteria, it's a long game, and there's no real reason for it to get an expansion, so that is a no for me on that aspect. With that being said, I am looking at a 5 out of 10.
Did you give it 3?
I gave it 3, yep.
I gave it 2. All right, so 5 out of 10. Daniels for House of 1,000 Corpses. Rob Zombie's A House of 1,000 Corpses, a game of horror. And again, like I said, we take our bias out of it. We did enjoy our plays.
Yeah.
But, let that be, that's based on our unbiased gamer criteria. So please tell us in the comments or wherever you're listening to this why you agree or disagree with us. Tell us your thoughts on the subject. And hit us up on all social medias. Instagram, podcast, Twitch, YouTube, all of it. We are on all of those. Again, this is Everyday Board Games. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.